there's a new scene graph node type supported, which is group. A group will take the current selection, so if we select that round rect and that triangle, so that's the current selection. This round rect is a child of the scene, this triangle is a child of this round rect, and we've created a selection with these two scene nodes. Now if we press group, what's happened is a group has been created for the user, and the round rect and the triangle have both been detached from their current parents and made a child of the new group. The group's translation has been set up correctly, so things end up in the right, so the group is in the right position. The objects that are now a child of the group, their transforms have been updated, in so much as their old model to world transform would have been multiplied by their new parent, which is the group, their new parent's inverse model to world transform, and what's left over is the objects that have been reparented, their new transform. A group node is like any other, in so much as all the transform tools know how to interact with it, so you can rotate them, you can scale them, translate them, and so on. A group is not the only scene node type that can support child objects, because we saw the triangle that was initially a child of this round rectangle. So I've written also a couple more generic features that can act on scene nodes that either have children or can support having children. So for instance, this group can support having children, so if we select something else, so it doesn't have to be a group, it can be anything that supports having children. So if you select it and then select what you want to be adopted by that object type that supports children, in this case a group, so we're selecting the group and we're selecting the objects that we want the group to adopt. So if we press that, we can see the group now includes this round rectangle. So the same process that happened when we initially created the group has happened to this additional round rect, which is, it's been detached from its old parent, which is the scene. It's been adopted by its new parent, so it's now a child of the group, and its transform's been updated accordingly. The other generic feature is for objects that again support child objects, and if you select something that is a child of something other than the scene, so for instance if we select this triangle, we can now detach it from its current parent. It will become a parent of its old parent's parent, so its grandparent, in this case is the scene. So if we detach from that and select the group again, we can see that the triangle now is not associated with this group. It's been detached from it and is now just an object that's an immediate child of the scene as opposed to an immediate child of this group. So there's a new object type, it's called group. We can group things together. Groups can be transformed and manipulated in the same way anything else can. And there's also two more generic features, which are adopt something into an object that supports children. It doesn't necessarily have to be a group. It will be reparented into that object. And there's also detach, which is detach something from its current parent, as long as its current parent isn't the scene. You can't detach something from the scene because it would just it would be a parentless object then in the scene graph. So it's not just transforms that the group, it's not just the transform tools that the group that can be used with the group. Other features, for instance, masks and so on, they're all supported by this new scene node type. So for instance, if we create a mask, we can just create a generic mask, give that to the group, and as you can see, it's applied correctly to the group. So yeah, there's a new type called group. It's supported by the transform tools, other things that you can do with other scene nodes, for instance add masks and so on, that's all supported. And there's also a couple of extra features that have been written to help maintain not just groups but any objects that can support children, and that is detach objects from the current parent, and also adopt objects into